Well, hello there, motherfuckers, and welcome to your Raw review. So, I was told that this was one of the worst Raw shows of the year. And, I don't know if I would really agree with that statement because, I mean, all the shows, the whole entire year have been bad. And I kind of watched this show and, I think maybe it might have been a little bit worse, but I don't really see how it stood out as being extra horrible. I mean, you had basically all the baby faces on the show getting buried, so I guess you could say that that made it one of the worst, but it's like you're saying, like, what's worse, diarrhea or IBS. It's just like you can't really put a ranking system on it when it's this bad. I mean, you're really like ranking the worst absolute shit of all time. It's like if I asked you what was a worse superhero movie, was it Green Lantern or was it Catwoman with Halle Berry? If you could answer that question and really make a case for it, that's a different story. But I did not see how, anyone could say, like, this stood out as... And I'm seeing that coming from the smarks, which is why I'm really a bit confused. But let's take a look at this show. Maybe when I talk it over, maybe when I mold it over and discuss it with you guys, maybe I'll figure out if it is one of the absolute worst shows of the year. So we started off with Corbin, Lashley, and Drew McIntyre in the ring. And apparently now, because Braun Strowman isn't going to be there for a few months, there's no match at TLC. So, Corbin now, I guess, they didn't make it that he was GM. He kind of took it upon himself of, being, he was calling himself GM-elect. So, I don't know. Like, Kurt Angle is still on vacation. It's not like they didn't say that he... what wasn't still the GM, so I don't know exactly how this is. Kurt Angle went away because Drew McIntyre beat him in a match, and somehow he's, not able to come back for some reason. So I find that funny that they kind of just are taking Angle out of the storyline completely. Like, doesn't Angle get a say? Isn't he still the GM? He's just Corbin's gonna automatically replace him. So Braun pops up on the Titantron, get these hands, he'll be back in a few months. They had Elias come out, started cutting a promo. Then Corbin makes a match for Elias and Lashley. Elias wins by disqualification after Lio Rush pulls Elias off of the cover, and then Corbin restarts the match. He's only done this 1,001 times already. Restarts the match, makes it a no disqualification match. Elias takes this super dangerous bump where he smacks his head right on the fucking steel steps. It was like a reverse Alabama slam. And, I'm going to talk about this in my SmackDown review. Becky Lynch is now scheduled for a TLC match after having a concussion. Like, we'll save that for that review because that's going to be a big rant when I get to that topic. So, with all these concussions and we're calling Nia Jax the face breaker, is it really such a good idea to have a guy like this, right at Drew's ass, like his head's hanging down, then flip him, smack him right face first into the steel? Now, I know those steel steps don't weigh anything. It's just a fake prop. But the impact, even if you smacked somebody's head into a pillow, their head's still going to go backwards. And Elias had a pretty scary, even might have got his hands up and everything like this, but still, it was high impact. And when you've got Becky Lynch, Zelina Vega just got back. She has a match on SmackDown. You know, all these girls out with injuries. You know, it's like, and plus, you know, Braun not out with a concussion, but out with an injury. Can they really afford such a high, you know, stake style like this, a high impact style, when, you know, Elias is one of the few stars that they have left? I mean, you're going to see on this show just like how little star power that is. And I think that is probably why. So maybe the fans are right. Maybe, you know, everyone's right about this. Maybe this was one of the worst shows of the year because you didn't have anybody on this show. You know, to me, Elias stood out as probably being the only star on the show, really. I mean, this, and you know, Lashley. So if this is a sign of like what's to come here, you know, the opening promo by Corbin, that's the other thing. Corbin is very generic in this role. I've talked, you know, for a bit, you know, over like maybe a year or two, that I said I liked Corbin. More than like 2 years. I talked about him in NXT. I said that the guy had a lot of promise. I liked that he was a big guy and he used to talk at, you know, saying, you know, he didn't like these indie darlings. And I thought that that was a pretty good gimmick, that, you know, they had a guy like Corbin that could cut like those types of work shoot promos on the smarks and kind of get heat based off of that. I don't know how long a gimmick like that could last, but all I know is that he's a really boring fucking GM. You know, very drab. He doesn't have anything really much to his personality. And I'm not saying that the guy ever had, you know, oodles of personality, but, you know, there's been times when he's shown more than he is now. I think, quite frankly, it might be that he's just bored in this role, because, quite frankly, it really is boring. And, you know, same goes for Kurt Angle. You know, we really haven't had many exciting GMs. The last GM that was, you know, that really showed any type of pizzazz to me was John Laurinaitis, to be quite honest. You know, aside from that, it doesn't seem like anybody's really into their role as GM. You know, the whole thing is, you know, what's like really funny is they didn't even have GMs until they did the brand extension the first time around. Now we always have to have a GM. Remember before that it was like the president, Gorilla Monsoon, or just Vince McMahon coming out there. So it's, you know, first of all, the GMs and the commissioners are the McMahons anyway, so it doesn't even matter. You know, like, what is the point of even having them? Corbin's not a good pick, to say the least. Backstage, Corbin gives the role of, I guess, women's GM. He didn't really say that, but he's putting Alexa Bliss in charge of the women's division. Now, I think it's quite obvious, guys. I mean, I don't want to be super negative here. I don't want to jump to conclusions. But I did just make a video about how Alexa Bliss is going to retire, that she might retire, that there's rumors that she's going to retire. They're rumors, okay? Nothing's really been said. But, you know, I'm looking at something here that, you know, Becky Lynch is returning to, you know, TLC to have a match. Zelina Vega is back in the Battle Royal on SmackDown. We're hearing a time frame of when Braun Strowman's going to be back, a few months. Now, Alexa Bliss, you know, they talked about her sustaining multiple concussions in a short period of time. And we're not hearing when she's getting back, and they're putting her in a authority figure role. This is very reminiscent of Paige, I have to say. Now, with Paige, they kind of made her a manager. Then she announced her retirement. Then she went and became the GM. So, you know, I'm kind of sitting here saying, like, you know, they're trying to kind of buy time here. I kind of get that. They're probably hoping that everything is okay with her, and I really hope that, everything is. But, now we gotta sit here, and now we basically gotta kind of start making some accusations. It really seems to me that she's probably gonna retire. Because I don't think that she'd be away for this long. Usually people return from their concussions after a few months. And I forget when they said that, like, she hasn't competed since, what was it? SummerSlam or in September. And, like, I didn't even fucking notice that. And now it seems like that is the case. She has not competed in a good 4 or 5 months. So, I think that sadly, unfortunately, that this talented girl is probably going to be on the shelf for good, like Paige. And, you think about it, she hasn't even hit 30 years of age yet, just like Paige. Paige was even younger. And, I'm just looking at them booking Becky Lynch for the TLC match at SmackDown. She's going to wrestle at TLC, but she's going to be in a tables, ladders, and chairs match where they're going to demand high spots. She's going to be crashing on her neck through tables. The back of her head is going to be slamming off of ladders. So, like I said, I don't want to jump to conclusions here, but Alexa Bliss has been out for a while, and now they're really cementing her into an authority figure role. We all kind of know what that means. So, Dean Ambrose cuts another, great promo. I can't stress that enough. It's like, it was a great piece of business when Dean Ambrose turned on Seth Rollins, the night that Roman Reigns announced his leukemia. It was great heat. It showed a bit of attitude. It showed a bit of that former angst, that, taking chances, not worrying about offending people type of thing. Last week I said that, as long as Roman Reigns is okay with, Dean Ambrose saying, he deserves it, that might seem like it's taking a bit too far, and they never had it to say that people deserve diseases back in the Attitude Era, none that I can recall. As long as Reigns was fine with it, come to think of it, like, people always talk about offensiveness being during the Attitude Era. I'll be quite honest, I think that there was more offensive shit said in the Ruthless Aggression Era. I'll bring you to when Vince McMahon said the N-word to John Cena. Remember when Shelton Benjamin was standing around, and that was a planned out thing. They never got that risque during the Attitude Era. So, I find that to be a bit interesting. I want to mention that. So, Ambrose is cutting this promo in the doctor's office. And he's getting shots because, once again, these people make him sick. They're full of, like, talk about taking a fucking thing too far. He got a hypodermic needle in his ass. And I'm not fucking joking for people that didn't see the show. He was getting shots, and the doctor standing there, giving him a shot in his arm, giving him a shot right in his ass, and okay, they didn't show, that one on camera, but, he goes, ugh, I also found it funny, too. I'm kind of thinking about, Ambrose is a guy who's jumped off of ladders. He was in CZW doing all this dangerous shit. And he goes like this when he gets a shot. He winces. And I'm just like, didn't this guy, get thrown into explosives and get wrapped up in barbed wire and shit and go through multiple tables? And I'm like, he's wincing at a needle. I mean, wow. Okay. I know he was trying to sell getting a shot, but I'm just saying it's kind of funny when you think about it. This wrestler who's put his body on the line. Just came back from what I heard was a life-threatening elbow injury. Got an infection. He wasn't, there was a time when they thought he wasn't going to survive it. So that was pretty interesting to know. This segment was absolutely fucking awful. And then at the end of it, this surprised me. Corey Graves asks Renee, what's going on with Ambrose? And she says, I live with Ambrose. But I don't know what's going on in his head. So that was the big reveal there, folks. I was saying that they probably should cut the shit already and say that, Renee is for Ambrose. And, wouldn't it be kind of interesting for Renee to be kind of making excuses for Ambrose and everything? Like, that would be pretty fucking hysterical and pretty interesting and pretty entertaining. But this is WWE. It's not supposed to be entertaining. It's not supposed to be fun. This is strict corporate charitable business. We're all about making top dollar here. So fuck that. We're gonna go for the most dry approach possible. So that's it. And she goes, she wishes she could say more. Wow, what a reveal there, right? Wasn't that just fucking, like I said, maybe guys are right. Maybe this is one of the worst shows of the year, because I'm like, there's so many fucking, examples of why the show is bad on this show. And we're only kind of getting started here. And Renee's big reveal, like pretty much saying, I live with Ambrose. Like, not saying it's my husband or anything, but I live with him. But it's like, so like, they're just like kind of, they're in the house together and they don't really say anything, and they're like somewhat newlyweds, right? So it's like, so she married this guy and he's a psychopath. I mean, I'm not saying that doesn't happen in real life, but I'm kind of just saying that just seems kind of stupid that they're going to take the time to omit this on TV, but they're not gonna really like give you any examples about it, like what, like anything that's going on that maybe Renee might have noticed about him. So I guess that kind of just makes her a shitty wife. You had the oh my god, what is up with the Lucha House Party Revival matches? What is this, the 4th or 5th time they've done the fucking match on Raw, and the Revival have lost every time? Like the Revival, like, obviously management doesn't like them. I don't give a shit about them. I think they're pretty dry and they're boring. I like the thing that they're like old school. I remember that they were talking about no fists, just no flips, just fists. And then Dash Dawson does a fucking suicide dive. So I don't give a shit about this team. A lot of the Smarks do. They say they're one of the best fucking teams of all time. For some reason, or like not maybe the best team of all time, but the best tag team in the WWE. So they're saying that. And, I don't really see anything too special from these guys. They don't look special. They don't act special. They don't have any type of aura about them. But, we're just going to keep seeing this match, I guess. It's not really getting a crowd reaction. It's not getting ratings. It's filler. It's like, I guess they don't have anything else to show here, so they're going to just have to repeat this. And, there's no other real tag teams also on Raw, I guess, right? Like, who else is there? None that I could really recall or think of. Then we have this absolutely, well, Ronda did a good job here, but Nia Jax and Tamina are cutting and Tamina's not. She's standing off to the side. And Rousey gets in the ring. She cuts a decent promo as well as she can under the given circumstances. And Nia Jax is just like acting fucking bizarre as shit in this promo. She was like she's not stalling, or she's not making excuses. She's just buying time. She's like doing all these weird like facial expressions and everything. And like I said this like on Facebook, I said like she's supposed to be a monster, Nia Jax. And she's sounding like a total Valley girl, like a girl in the line at Starbucks. And I've said this before, but it's like over time she's only worsened, like in her promos. Like they're making her the girl. They don't know what they want to make her. 1 minute she's, comes in as the monster, kind of halfway there. They're not fully committed to her. Like a monster would have came in, dominated, won the title right away. They waited like a whole fucking year to give her the title. So Nia then, they decide to make her a baby face. She kind of is like a poster girl for bullying, be a star and all this, and, stand up for what's right, and, they made Alexa Bliss the bully and everything. They made, like, the skinny, pretty girl is the bully, and that Nia is the victim and everything, and it just looked fucking stupid as shit because, you've got this big girl getting bullied by a girl who's 5 feet tall, so... and then they made her a body positivity poster girl for like about a week. Renee Young started talking about, Nia Jax and body positivity, and that didn't last very long at all. And now we're back to heel Nia, and it's kind of like a mix between a basic bitch and like just a heel, or like a chicken shit heel. And so, Nia goes, I'm buying time. Like, and then Tamina starts, like, approaching her from behind like they're going to gang up on Rousey. And then Natalia's music hits. And then, like, Tamina, like, immediately, like, backs up and, like, walks away. Like, the music hit. It's time to back off, folks. Instead of just getting a few quick cheap shots in on Rousey. I mean, in the ring right there, Tamina is like well over 200 pounds. Nia is like 300 fucking pounds, probably even more. As Natalia's making her way down the ring, the Riot Squad attacks her. Rousey then goes to make the save, and then kind of just Nia Jax and Tamina just kind of, disperse. And I'm just like, what the fuck happened here? First of all, like, Nia's promo was like, I don't know if maybe Natalya or the Riot Squad weren't ready backstage. They weren't in position. Because Nia was acting like a fucking moron on the mic. Like, what was that? What was she doing with her eyes? Like, I don't know what that was supposed to be. Like, I don't know, like, the facial expressions, it was like she was having some sort of seizure or some type of fit. I don't know what that was, but I never want to see it again. That was, like, the epitome of cringe right there. I mean, and cringe and cringe-worthy are terms that are very much overused here on the internet, on YouTube. But I think if you were ever going to apply the term, I think it would be, justly due right here. Because this was just fucking horrible. And it was hard to watch. And I don't know why, because I've heard Nia speak before, and she's not great, but she was better than this. I don't know if she wasn't comfortable with the material, or she was just trying to buy time for the girls backstage. I don't know what was going on. So, up next was the AOP defeating Bobby Roode and Chad Gable. Drew Maverick steals Bobby Roode's robe. He takes it into a bathroom stall, puts the robe in the toilet, and pees on it. And Bobby Roode is all freaking out over the robe and everything. And, I don't know what it is, how much that robe costs or anything like that. I know Ric Flair's robes cost him a fortune, but, it's like one thing to maybe, it's like I want to say that, like, something like this is, like, Attitude Era-ish, But, like, it's what it stems from. Drew Maverick, Rockstar Spud, whatever the fuck you want to call this guy, just, you know, at Survivor Series, he pees on himself with this. He didn't just pee on himself, it was like awkward, like his hand in his pants, looking like he was masturbating first, and then, you know, he was trying to hit the little trigger, the little squirt gun, so he could make it look like he peed in his pants. Then they make fun of him last week, you know, that he peed in his pants again, and now he fucking pees. So, I don't know. It, like, this is his gimmick. He's like the master urinator or some shit. Like, can we get off of urine for... I know that Vince McMahon finds this funny, but it's like, you look at the rest of this show, and you're just like, really? Like, are they really... Like, they have no stars on this show. Their star power is at an all-time low. Everybody's out with injuries. There's concussions out the wazoo. There's just injuries in general up the fucking ass. I mean, my God, you might have somebody retiring. You don't have Braun Strowman. Kevin Owens is on the shelf. Sami Zayn is on the shelf. You know, who else is? You know, I think Lashley is working with an injury. AJ Styles is looking out to be... I get that they're on different shows and everything, but I'm just giving examples of how big of a mess this fucking company is. Just everything is all over the fucking place, right? So, they're... With all of that in mind, like, they've got plenty of time to write fucking pee jokes, and, you know, just what writers, like, you know, instead of trying to do something... I think this is probably what it was. It's like, you know, they've shown, like, this shit in comedies and stuff, and it's like, okay, I get it. He's trying to, like, show that he has no respect for Bobby Roode, and he's getting back at him for, you know, making fun of him last week, and it's kind of like, ha, you know, he peed on his robe, because they're making fun of him because he peed in his pants. But it's just like, you know, how about we do something with Bobby Roode, like get him out of this shit fucking tag team with Chad Gable? How about the AOP manage to be dominating monsters without having to have a fucking urination distraction to be able to win a fucking match? That's like 2 times in a row that the AOP have won a match based on pee. Has anybody noticed that? Like, this is the second time that they have won. First, it was because Drew peed in his pants, and then it's because Drew peed on the robe. Like, I can't believe, like, does anybody, like, believe that I'm actually, like, having to say this in the video? Like, having to talk about urine in the video. Like, all I want to do is review this show, and I have to talk about this because it happened. It's like, and I don't want to, but, like, it's there, and I have to talk about it, but it's, like, embarrassing. And that's the other thing, what makes this so bad. It's like, if you got, like, a friend who says, you know, so what did you do last... Oh, I was watching Raw. Oh, I haven't watched that in years. So what was happening last night? Like, what's... Oh, not a lot. Well, what was, like, one thing that happened? Well, you know, this guy, Drew Maverick, you know, he peed on Bobby Roode's robe. It's like, what? You know, like, how do you, like, talk to people about this show that don't watch it and not make it seem like you're a lunatic watching some fucking crazy, you know, smut shit? I mean, like, what the hell? I mean, this is embarrassing. Ember Moon now has a new mixed match challenge partner, and I just, like, don't know why that this is even on Raw, because that's mixed match challenge, and that's supposed to be, like, a different universe, but... You know, I guess this year they're, like, combining it, and, you know, it doesn't really feel like it has any consequence on the show, though. But Kurt Hawkins, God bless Kurt Hawkins for finally getting back on Raw one way or another. So he's on there with Ember Moon, and there's a match against Alicia Fox, and she manages to get the win. And then No Way Jose comes out, and Kurt Hawkins and Ember Moon get in the conga line. They start dancing, and Renee Young says that Ember Moon looks she looks horrified, or she looks what was the word she used? I don't remember. She just said that she didn't look like she was enjoying herself, and she hates dancing. But meanwhile, she's got a big fucking smile on her face, and she's no way, Jose, no way, Jose. She's like fucking dancing down the fucking entrance ramp with a big smile on her face. You don't look miserable at all. It's like the commentators are making a call here that's not even happening in reality. It would be one thing if maybe she stood and like looked on and like disgust. Yeah, oh, that was the word. She said she looks disgusted. I never, is this a face that looks disgusted? No, it looks like, euphoric, like she's having the best time of her life. I don't know, Ember Moon is like the weirdest fucking character on the show. I mean, she's sticking her tongue out, she's like the warrior goddess, and she's dancing in a fucking conga line. I mean, and they're trying to say like she is, just disgusted at the proceedings, but she looks like this is like the biggest moment she ever had in WWE. And then we go on to Jinder Mahal. We transition into Jinder Mahal defeating No Way Jose. It's like No Way Jose just had a match out of fucking nowhere. I mean, I don't know if it was just that they wanted to have Jinder finally get a win after months. I mean, how does that look for Jose? Like, Jose hasn't been seen in months, and he comes out, gets his full entrance, and then he just loses. I mean, I think it was just filler. It's like they just don't have anybody, so it was like, fuck, let's just bring out No Way Jose. Let's just give Jinder a win already. Like, I don't know. I don't have any reasons behind this. And, while we're at it, since we're already going to bring out, Jose, and, we're going to just fill this show with meaningless filler, why don't we just go ahead and just have another IC Open challenge? Because, Seth Rollins hasn't fucking defended that shit in fucking months. So you might as well give him a fucking match too, because we got nothing else going on. You might as well do that. We're not going to be bothered to really have Ambrose be there in the arena. So it's funny, it's like Seth Rollins lays the groundwork for like, oh, he might be there, but he never shows up. So Ziggler answers the open match challenge, comes out, and here we go for Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler, match number 736. That's probably pretty accurate. There's rumors of, his curb stomp being fucking banned again, which, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. I think it's just a rumor because, he used the Falcon Arrow to win the match. I mean, that fucking horrible fucking no-sell superplex into the Falcon Arrow, that's his finisher now. I don't know. It's like, that just doesn't seem like a main event finisher to me. But whatever it was, it's like, okay, everyone's saying this was a great match. But I'm just fucking sick of seeing this match already. And it really wasn't that fucking great. I mean, honestly, already, I'm getting really fucking sick and tired of watching Seth Rollins. I don't care what anybody says about him being the guy's super athletic. And I'm not going to sit here and repeat all the things about how he, how he's very dangerous in the ring. All that shit's been said before. But really, he just doesn't sell anything. Just does the same fucking shit every single match. No selling that big move off the top, which just looks fucking horrendous. That voice of his, I mean, it's just... And the fact that they're probably going to do a Seth Rollins Brock Lesnar match at WrestleMania. Guys, honestly, if you want to know, like, why I didn't want to go to WrestleMania, it's because I won't give them a fucking dime of my money. The only thing I pay them for is the fucking network. That's it. You know, so I could watch the classic shit and I could review the pay-per-views for all you guys. That's about it. That's the only reason that I will pay them the $9.99 a month. But, you know, aside from that, I'm not going to fucking WrestleMania. I don't care if they bring the show around, you know, every, like, fucking 7 years or whatever it is. You know, it was 2013, so it's going to be 6 years. So, you know, that was it. It's like, you know, WrestleMania is always like, it never lives up to its former hype anyway. There's been some decent WrestleManias, but it's like, you know, you pay for the show, you expect the best, and you only get subpar shit. And when I know that the main event is going to be Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar, and I know that in my heart of hearts, I am not going to pay for that fucking show and give WWE the signals that I'm, like, accepting this. I mean, honestly, if I see Seth Rollins pinning Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, and I'm supposed to be told that I'm supposed to believe that, and, like, this is supposed to be, like, credible main event, you're out of your fucking mind. That's why I'm not paying for the fucking show. I'm not going to be attending it. So, you have Alexa Bliss inviting Sasha and Bayley out to the ring. And this, like, you know, guys, now that I talk about it, maybe it's that you guys, like, seeped into my subconscious or something like that. But this really was a fucking horrendous-ass show. Because they really had nothing here. So Alexa Bliss, you know, gets the two girls out there, sits them in director's chairs, and, you know, conducts one of the, like, worst interviews I've ever fucking seen in my life. Like, whatever happened to, like, giving Alexa Bliss these great promos? Then Alexa asked, you know, Sasha, how does it feel that you were women's champion and now you're just in the tag team with your best friend? And, you know, she also asked her, you know, she lets a fan ask a question. Well, that was the first thing that they did. They let the fan ask the question. This super excited, she's a super excited girl, you know, who probably desperately needs a boyfriend, you know, so she could leave her apartment full of cats, or, you know, she asks, you know, if you could change one thing about the women's, you know, if you were in charge of the women's division, what is one thing that you would change, or what would you do to make it better? Whatever the fuck she asked. The people ringside were like booing. They were saying this is awful, and, you know, I don't usually agree with the Smarks and they're heckling, but, you know, this truly was fucking painful to watch. Sasha says, there's not one thing that I would change. I'm proud of the women's division. And then Bayley asks, she goes, you know, that's what she said. She says, there was one thing I would change. She goes, I'd ship your little butt back to SmackDown. Then Bayley takes the mic and says, I would change something. I'd ship you back to hell where you came from. And, like, I mean, this was like some fucking bad comedy movie that, like, flopped after a week in theaters. I mean, what the fuck was this? Then they just end it with, like, Dana Brooke and a bunch of the other girls just storm the ring, and Mickie James, and attack them from behind, end segment. Then in the main event, you had Baron Corbin versus Finn Balor. Corbin changes the match and makes it a handicap match. Then Drew comes out, hits the Claymore kick, gets the pin. Then they get Bobby Lashley out there. They beat down Finn Balor. Nobody comes out to help him. And then all three of them with Leo Rush stand tall. End show. Fade to black. What a piece of shit. what a fucking piece of garbage. I think you people are right. I think this was a really fucking... I mean, you know, it sounds like hyperbole. I think it's the fact that it was at the end of the year and people were just so fucking... I mean, this had to be one of the worst fucking years in WWE history. And that ain't hyperbole. I mean, this year, you had retirements. Okay, you had one person coming out of retirement. I hope he stays out of retirement. And Daniel Bryan, though, you know, the way that they're making this guy wrestle, getting thrown on his neck and shit. Becky Lynch, I don't know it. They're going to book her right away in a TLC match that they're getting back from a concussion. Concussions, injuries, Roman Reigns, you know, being re-diagnosed with leukemia. I mean, like, how the fuck could it get any worse? Is it possible for them to have an even worse year than they did this year? So it all came full circle. In this show, there was no star power. There was no nothing. It was fucking horrendous from top to bottom. There wasn't one thing that you needed to see on. And I think maybe that's why people are right. Usually there's like one thing on the show. Okay, Jinder getting a win made me happy. I'm like, finally the guy got a fucking win. Kurt Hawkins got to be on TV. I was happy that, you know, like, two guys that I like, you know, managed to fucking, you know, be in some type of positive light on the show. As minuscule as it was for both of them. I mean, I still can't believe that Jinder is a former WWE champion and, you know, he just has to scrape by with a win over No Way Jose. Whatever, but... Anyway, guys, there's your Raw review. If you liked it, please hit a thumbs up. If you didn't, hit a thumbs down and tell me why. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the bell so you get all the notifications when I post all my new videos. Check out some of the other content I have posted here. And thank you for watching, guys. This has been your YWC champ. And I'll see ya for the SmackDown review.